Cast your bread upon the water. Patrick is a young Irishman coming into his own. The time is the early to mid-18th century. The world was changing. Some sought their fortunes in the Americas. Others wanted the world to stay the same. Ireland at the time was a hard place just to find a daily meal, let alone anything that might be considered a fortune. Patrick wanted to discover fortune and have friends, but how does a young man go about doing such a thing? So Patrick cast his bread upon the water. This is the list that was his bread. Patrick is young, strong, willing, and friendly, and penniless as well. So what can he do? He decided it is best for him to go down to the docks and see if he can get a job as a deckhand on a ship bound for anywhere. Patrick lands a position on a merchant mariner bound for England. He enjoys the work and is surprised and relieved to discover that his shipmates are men just like himself. They tell each other what their dreams and desires are. They play cards together. They laugh and tease each other in a good-natured bantering. All in all, he feels comfortable with them and the work he is doing. But England and adventure are tugging on his heart. He remembers that local priest one time said, "The heart is wicked and more deceitful than all things." He thinks it was written in one of the books of the Bible. So Patrick arrives in England and says farewell to his companions. A couple of years has passed, and he is now hungrier and dirtier than he ever was back in England. He just can't seem to find his place. Nowadays, he finds a little comfort in a bottle, or even in the pub. There is an odd man in the pub. He seems to have plenty of money, but no friends. He buys Patrick his drinks, but the man does not talk about how it is that he makes his money. Patrick has made up his mind. He is going to discover this man's secret, even if he has to beat it out of him. So the man relents and says, "Okay, I'll tell you, but you have got to swear that you will never, I mean never, repeat this to anyone. Do you swear?" And Patrick agrees. "I am a sin eater." "You're a what?" "I am a sin eater." "What is a sin eater?" "People die, right?" "Well, of course people die." "Well, I am the man that is invited to the funeral in order to eat the dead man's sin." "How in the world do you do that?" "Look here, lad. You are still young. You have no idea how terrified people really are of death, especially the rich. They will go to enormous lengths in order to ease their consciences." "Okay, I am listening. What do I do?" "When you enter the room, you will notice the body, and on the dead man's bare skin will be some bread. According to the superstition, the bread will soak up all the man's sin. You need to walk around the room and stare at people. Then their dirty consciences will tell them how much to give you. When you think you have gotten all the money you can, it will be at this point you need to eat the bread in front of them. Then they will chase you out of the house with curses and spittle." And again, Patrick followed his heart and ignored his mind. You mean that's all I have to do in order to be rich like you? Yes, laddie, that is all you have to do. After a time of being a sin-eater, Patrick found himself alone in a pub. He was arguing with his mind. It's only a superstition. Then why do I feel so bad? I was better off as a shipmate. Sailors are superstitious. Yeah, but I sure enjoyed their companionship. Patrick decided to turn over a new leaf, and he walked down to the docks and was hired as a deckhand on a ship bound for the Americas. He was surprised at how easily he slid right back into the work and companionship of sea life. One night the men had all gathered for dinner, and it was one of those times that come along and everyone is laughing together and telling stories and yelling at each other and having a truly good time of man fun. Old Pete says, "You call that beauty? Ah, you don't know anything. You young ones sit down and I will tell you a story of the prettiest girl on earth." "Oh yes, hear the old codger. Talk his talk. You watch it, Davy, or I'll come over there and I'll clean your clock." Everyone laughs. I was in the Shire of Devonbrook. You all heard the church bells of Devon. Those churchmen know how to build a bell and keep time. Those bells are relied upon by the surrounding area. Everyone looks forward to the noon tolling of the Devonshire bells. So here I am in the market square. I was selling wares at my stand, when I noticed the town is getting a hushed and quiet tone. There was still a lot of people in the market, and the bell had not rung yet. So why were people getting so hushed? I looked, and the crowd was kind of bulging towards my stand. Then the crowd began to separate, and I could tell all were looking at someone in the center. I couldn't see the man because he was pretty short for a man. Then the crowd opened up, and the prettiest girl I had ever even dreamed of was coming to my stand. I couldn't hardly speak, and I could barely even look upon her delicate smile. I don't know how long she was there at the market, but it seemed like ages had passed, and then everyone realized at the same time what had happened. The churchmen! Even the churchmen were struck dumb by her beauty. The churchmen forgot to ring the bells of Devonshire. A quiet respect and deep awe came over those sailormen. Everyone showed respect for that story. Except Patrick. Again, he rejected his mind and listened again to his heart. I have a story that will scare you straight. Everyone was a little uneasy with him, but they thought they would give him his fair chance. So Patrick tells them about being a sin eater. The men began to back away from him. The men became quiet and hostile towards him. From then on, they said he was a Jonah. Others called him a Judas. Patrick had no more companions. He couldn't even eat his food because someone would come along and knock his food out of his hands and over the side. He was becoming weak. He was laying on his bunk one night, arguing with his mind. His heart would say, "You are a Jonah." His mind would say, "Repent." His heart would say, "There is no God." His mind would say, repent. His heart was loud. You always listen to me. I always take good care of you. Now it is time for you to go. His mind said, no, do not listen to your heart. Patrick decided to listen to his heart. Patrick went to the ship's gunroom and grabbed a cannonball. He went to the side of the ship, and his mind screamed, do not do it! Patrick stood there and said, it is only a superstition. There is no God. As Patrick was falling through the air and then sinking deeper and deeper into the sea, he remembered those words. The heart is wicked and deceitful above all things. Life is filled with daily choices. Cast your bread upon the water just like God said to do. Then learn contentment. Be skilled at what you do. Maybe God will grow you. Maybe you will find you are happiest right where you are at. But always keep an eye towards growth. Living things grow. Greed, envy, jealousy, hate, and trespassing. These are the products of the heart.